It's the Jaden Show, and I'm your host, Jaden Cornelious. Good afternoon. Happy Sunday to you all, and welcome to the Jaden Show. I've got a wonderful show in store for you today. I'm going to Portland, Oregon to meet singer, songwriter, producer, to meet one-man show, Swinney. You're going to meet him and get to know him a bit better in a few moments. But I think let's have a little of a taster. This is called Cherry, and it's only a matter of seconds, but this is the song that's coming out soon. This is Swinney. This is a little taster of Cherry.
Never question why I feel like I can't live without you. I know I can't live without you.
Are you ready? Are you ready? Let's go and meet this week's very special guest, the amazing Swinney. Swinney, welcome to the Jaden Show. How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you today?
I'm very well, thank you. It's bloody lovely to see you. Thank you for agreeing to be on my show. Now, I know my audience of 7 friends, a mother and 3 border collies are interested in knowing all about you. So how did it start for young Swinney? When did you kind of start developing this love for music, and kind of how did you get into it all?
Well, I mean, I feel like I kind of came out of the womb a performer. Like, it's just always been a part of who I am. I can't remember a time where music wasn't, like, around. My parents aren't musicians, but they're massive lovers of music. So I kind of grew up with this education about music that I completely hated at the time growing up, but realized now that they were, like, instilling good stuff in me.
What was your kind of your background in music? What were they listening to?
My dad really loved like old soul music, so like Sam Cooke and the Delphonics and things like that. So as an 8-year-old, I did not, understand that at all. And I was like, Dad, come on, like, let's not listen to this. But now it's like, oh, thank you so much for introducing that to me when I was young, and playing all this cool stuff that I would have never probably thought on my own.
True that. What would you, if when you said, Dad, please play something different, what would that different artist have been? Give me some examples.
Oh my gosh, probably like Journey or Fleetwood Mac.
Okay.
Those were 2 that like I actually loved as a little kid. So if he played those, like, we were probably really good.
Wow. Okay.
But yeah, he had a very varied taste in music that was a little bit more like highbrow, where my mother listened to like Madonna and Janet Jackson and Top 40 stuff.
Your mum would have got on well then. That was my bad.
Yeah. Yeah. My mom definitely, it was a balance. It was a really good balance of both.
Yes, I think you've done quite well then, frankly.
Yeah, I lucked out in that department. There was like no room for me to like kind of go wrong with the music stuff. Like, having that kind of good taste was ingrained in me at a very young age. So I appreciate that.
You said you were birthed a performer. So did you come out like, tell me lies, tell me sweet little lies?
I mean, yeah, pretty much. Pretty much.
Was it in like primary school, or was you quite shy? And when did it just start?
No. I just started singing. I have the first memory I have of music, which is funny because I love this artist now, but is Locomotion by Kylie Minogue. Like, I was a really little child watching it on television and like just being like, what is this? Like having no clue, having no reference. And like that, every time I would turn on MTV or VH1, it was like I would just stop what I was doing and pay full attention to that. So, and then I would mimic it, of course. So anyone that wanted to, see my Madonna routine, or I would be like, let's do it.
And now finally as well, mate. I'm 50 years old. Yeah. I just downloaded the backing track to Locomotion the other day to start doing it in my show. So you never grow out of it. That's the thing.
Yeah. Like,
and some weekends.
Yeah, and that's a cover. I had no idea. You know, it's
Yeah,
like that's cool
absolutely,
to
yeah.
know. An adult, it's like a cover that she did. But things like that, I think, like little moments like that stick out to me as a child, where I was like, oh, I want to do what they're doing. I want to like sing and dance, and I had some great grandparents too, and relatives that kind of encouraged that too, and like probably out of like humor, they just thought it was funny, but really wanted me to do that. So
They
I was
probably,
lucky in that sense.
they
It
probably saw that you loved
kind
it,
of
made you happy, so that was probably what they were promoting, right?
absolutely, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
I was
amazing.
having a good time. That's what they cared about.
So now you've got your whole Madonna routine with a little bit of Kylie thrown in. When did you start actually kind of, I don't know, becoming the fledgling into the artist that you are today?
Well, I mean, it's been a slow process. So I grew up in the deep South and had a very, what I would consider like an arrested development in certain senses of growing up and figuring out who I am and all that fun stuff. So it took me a while. So whereas I kind of get a little envious of people that are, 16, 17, making music and living their dreams, because to me it's like I didn't even know that that was like a possibility. So it took me a while. So I would say when I left the South and moved to Portland, Oregon, that was when I felt like, oh, I can actually do this and like be myself and do what I want to do. So I spent some time in Nashville, just to give you a little background, which can be it's an amazing, amazing music town. But I was surrounded by these like incredible musicians who could like play guitar and play piano. And that's like, to me, what I was like thought being a musician was. And I didn't know how to do any of that. So I could sing, but I didn't know how to like make music. So I had a lot of insecurities around actually making the music, because I was surrounded by really talented people, and I was like, oh, I can't do that.
Right.
But once I came to Portland, and I mean, Portland is a wild place for sure, but it allows people to just kind of be themselves and do whatever they want. And no matter what it is that you do musically, artistically, you can find a place for it here. So that was really inspiring to me. Was like, oh, well, this person's playing live shows and they're not very good. So maybe like, I can do something and like be better and do some, that's kind of what I was thinking. Like everyone can do something here
Yeah,
and be accepted. Yeah. So that was kind of the catalyst for me.
when did you
Like,
start writing? I'm guessing like with 3 a.m. these are and Cherry, which is coming out soon, that these are songs that you've actually written yourself as well. Am I correct?
yeah, yeah. I've always been a writer. I've always been like a little poet. So journaled and stuff like that.
But do you play any instruments now?
I play a little bit of the piano, but everything that I do is produced by me. All the music is written by me, but I have no idea what I'm doing.
Welcome to my world.
I mean, I saw a really like a encouraging meme on Instagram where it was like, I'm a producer and I know these 3 notes on the keyboard. And that's kind of how I feel sometimes. But I can figure my way around, but if I had to sit down and like write it into music notes or anything like that, I wouldn't be able to do it. But I've learned and have accepted that that doesn't mean I'm not a musician. So
No, absolutely. So who would say, I mean, your music is nothing like the soul music you were brought up on.
yeah.
And if you had to, I'm not saying you should do, or even if you wanted to, but if you had to kind of place your music into a genre, whereabouts would it kind of roughly be placed?
I would say like dream pop,
Okay.
all pop, bedroom pop, kind of like in that category, but definitely pop at its core. I think that's where my safe, like sweet spot will be, is pop music.
Mhm.
So yeah, I think a dream pop, bedroom pop genre is often where my stuff kind of lands.
And did you start writing quite early on as well, or has that kind of happened more recently?
No, I've been at this. I would say taking making and recording music seriously for, I would say, like 10 years. So
Really?
it's been like it's been a 10-year journey of just working on music and trying to get it to where I wanted it to release it to where I thought it sounded good enough. And so, you know, I'm a one-man band, so it's kind of trial and error when you're the only person. So you have to kind of ask yourself, like, is this ready? Does this need more? And so I feel like it takes a little bit more growing and gestating when you're, you know, the only one doing the music and stuff.
But the plus side is you don't have to share royalties.
And this is very true. And like, and no one can tell me they don't like a specific kind of music. You know, I can do whatever I want.
Yeah,
like,
absolutely. Yeah, you have complete freedom of choice. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
what,
I mean,
at the moment, what's going on for you at the moment?
I've just been working on this EP. So I started really writing things when COVID happened. I just, you know, I didn't have a job. I had lost my job during COVID, so I had so much free time, and I was house sitting and kind of away from everyone, and just sat down and like had a piano and recorded stuff and wrote a lot of songs over the course of that year. And so I've just been like working and tinkering with them. And so I just feel like now that they're ready to put out into the world. So I'm just getting ready to put that stuff out and figuring out new ways, new and exciting ways to like share that with people or get people interested in it, which is always a battle.
Amazing. And do you have a studio set up where you are, or do you have to access someone else's studio in order to put your stuff down?
I have a little home studio here at my
sweet.
apartment.
And so you really can do everything.
Yeah, I mean, I wish that I had an engineer so I could record things better and get that sound that I really want, because I feel like I'm limited in some ways in the way that I want things to sound in my head, because, you know, I'm doing it myself and, you know, recording myself too, which is challenging. But, you know, I can get the job done.
Do you also feel that, I mean, even though sometimes it must be a little bit frustrating, I know I've had two people explain the whole Logic Pro system to me about 15 times, and I still can only turn it on, and that's as far as I get, you know? So, I mean, but do you feel that the more you continue with it, the more you kind of think, oh shit, where was that bloody echo and that reverb or that compression? Do you find now that actually, wow, this is already, even the foundation has gone from here when you were first doing it to like, now you're even starting better than what you sounded, you know, 3 or 4 or 5 years ago?
Yeah, I think so. I think that it's just progression. If you practice and you have like, you know, a daily or weekly ritual that you do with it, I think that you're only going to get better. You're only going to improve. I consume so many YouTube videos on production and mixing and things like that, just trying to educate myself, because, you know, ultimately I just want to be the best version of an artist that I can be and make the music that I hear in my head, you know, and be able to produce exactly what I hear in my head. That's always the goal.
Do you enjoy the production side of things?
Yes, I do. I do and I don't. It's kind of one of those like middle ground things, but I think it's only out of laziness. I think that that's all it is. It's just because it's very time consuming.
Yeah.
As you know, like being a songwriter is its own thing. So if you're lucky enough to get a song out, now you have to think about like producing it.
Yeah.
So that's kind of like, but I've learned like a process for myself is where I'll just kind of build up songs that are very like bare bones, you know, and just keep writing and keep writing and keep writing. And when I'm ready to kind of like release something, I kind of pick the best ones and then just really focus in on those, re-recording vocals or adding things to that. So that's kind of how I've started getting better at producing and kind of working on projects, is just writing and not thinking about the production or mixing side of things until a little bit later.
So at the moment you're working on your EP, where do you want this EP to go? How do you want the next stages of your musical career to progress?
I mean, I just want to get it out there. I want people to hear it. I feel that I make music for, you know, the queer community, and I really feel like it's music for them, for us. And I want people to listen to it and have fun with it and enjoy it the way that I enjoy music. I think that's like my ultimate goal. I would love to have it distributed and released physically, things like that. And then, you know, hopefully do some shows in the future too. That's kind of like where I see things going.
Okay. Have you done any live shows yet?
I have in the past, but not with like
Not with your own.
so I released an EP like 7 years ago, 8 years ago now. And so I did a lot of shows and played a lot of live stuff then. But and then was in a couple of bands in between that time. So I haven't done a live show since 2019, since before COVID. So it's been a while.
Okay. Do you, if you had to choose between performing and studio work, could you pick?
I don't think I could pick, but I will say this, like, as a solo artist, trying to figure out how to do it live, the way I want to do it live, is always a challenge. So in that regard, I do love the studio and being in that zone. I love performing as well. I always love performing, but I get frustrated with myself when I can't do exactly what I want to do live.
Yeah, no.
So, and it's hard to do. I am amazed by people that can like do live looping and things like that and make their like electronic music work in a live fashion. It's fascinating to me. I don't know if I can, hopefully I will get there, but it's a daunting task.
Maybe a few more YouTube tutorials on your horizon then. I think.
Right? Yeah, exactly.
I'm kind of like overwhelmed by my list of tutorials I need to start. I'm like, I'll just do the Jaden show for now because I can do that.
It's very easy to get overwhelmed by how many there are.
It really is. I mean, it's like, I find it really amazing how people, they don't want to pay you to do events. They want you to because you need the profiling, and they don't realize the intensity of the behind the scenes stuff that goes into you releasing. I remember, someone's like, Jaden, when you release the next album, I'm like, when I've paid off the last two, which you haven't brought.
Yeah.
It's just like everyone thinks it just flows out of you into your Spotify, Bandcamp or SoundCloud account. And it don't. Yeah. Not only have you got to spend bloody loads of hours on learning your shit, but then you've also got to still be creative while having your mind blown by tutorials. And then you've got to spend 8 to 12 hours a day promoting it on social media.
Yeah, it's exhausting.
And after 32 years, you will still be an overnight success.
Right? Yeah, it's an exhausting amount of work to try to do it in the way that you're supposed to do it these days. Like it's daunting. It's overwhelming. I think in the past, because I have released music for so many years now, I didn't take it seriously. I was just like, I'm Beyonce. I'll just surprise release things. Like I didn't think about that aspect of it. And that probably had a lot to do with imposter syndrome, insecurity, all that fun stuff too. But like, I feel now I'm just ready for people to listen to my music and experience that with me, because I think it's fun. I think there's something there for people to enjoy, especially, LGBTQ plus people. I think it's pop music. It's made for us like sad kids who like to still dance. It's like all of that.
Madonna and Kylie in their bathroom window at 50 years old.
Yeah, I mean, it's that. Which is funny because, pop music is like, should be the easiest thing to market as an independent artist, right? Because you've got, everything's catchy and dancey and fun, but it's not. I find it's kind of the opposite, where it's like, oh, you don't play the guitar. Sorry, we're not gonna playlist you or whatever. Yeah. And that's a frustration and a hurdle that I want to like try to break down that barrier of like, no, it's
not just in radio play and getting noticed. It's also in live performances. I live in a place, a tourist area, but I can't get any shows because I don't have live musicians. Mm-hmm. But even if I had a keyboardist, bass player, drums and guitar, I'm still not going to sound as good as the track that I've downloaded with full instrumentation. Mm-hmm. So it's actually, I'm doing better being an artist with a track than an artist with a mini band that sounds a bit like the Salvation Army doing Madonna. Do you know what I mean? So, but you don't have any credibility if you don't play something yourself. And Triangle, obviously, I've tried, but it doesn't cut it with most producers. So, so it's there is a lot against us. Do you ever regret choosing that path, or had that path already chosen you? It seems.
I have no choice but to do this. Like I love all various types of music. I really do, and I've gotten to be in bands and do fun stuff that like I probably wouldn't have done on my own. But like, you know, the key albums and music that I loved growing up that shaped me as a, you know, 12, 13-year-old little queer boy in the South, that made me feel happy and made me feel like seen and heard. Those are the ones that like I still listen to today.
Okay,
So
just about to ask that. Are your go-to songs then still kind of the same as your go-to songs now?
I mean, I have some nostalgic acts for sure. I mean, I think Britney will always be a soft spot for me because of when I started listening to her. But yeah, I mean, anything like from the late 90s and the early 2000s that was like on the radio, or the thing, you know, that's like when I was coming up and a kid, and when I would hear certain songs that would stick with me and that resonated with me in some form or fashion.
Yeah, no, I get that. Well, when you were listening to that, I was working with Britney's producers in Sweden doing the same kind of music. So but it is, I think the biggest lesson that I've learned in these years is to do it because you love it, because you have to, and to have no expectations, because expectations breed disappointment, and just to do it because said it chose you. I would never have been a singer in a million years, and I've tried to give it up so many times. But it's like, I don't know, it's like having a kid. It's like, daddy, record this, record. I don't.
There are definitely moments where I've been like, I'm done with this. I'm not gonna ever produce a song or write a song again. And then, you know, a month will go by and I'm writing like 10 songs all at once.
You wake up at 3 a.m. with a good hook and you're like, oh my God, I've got to put that down.
Yeah. Because it's frustrating. Sometimes I do get frustrated with it. But I think if I didn't get frustrated with it, you know, something wouldn't be right. Because I think like every artist goes through phases where they just hate everything that they do. And like, that's okay. And that's normal. You know, you're not going to love everything.
It's not like, you know, going to a shop and making a sausage roll. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
I'm not saying that that's not an art and that's not creative, but this is something that is kind of, it's from your soul and from your spirit, whether you like it or not. So to ignore that is to ignore yourself. And that is, you know, it's not just about, well, you know, I wouldn't say that I'm very keen on the industry, but I can't imagine my life. I've been singing for 32, 34 years. I can't imagine not doing it. Even when I hate it, I can't imagine not doing it.
Yeah. I mean, I feel that same way. I've been in the industry by proxy, so I've seen what it can do to people and how people have gotten held up in contracts that they can't get out of and they can't release their music, things like that. Like I've just seen so many horror stories firsthand from people that like that the industry doesn't interest me as much as just reaching people in the community.
Oh, that's perfect.
You know, like if anything else comes along with it, that's just a perk, honestly. And I say that very sincerely. That's not just blowing smoke. It's like I do this and have always done this. And so anyone that wants to be a part of it in any way, shape, or form, please join, listen. You know, that's the way I feel about it.
Exactly the same. That's amazing. That's amazing. And I guess we're quite lucky now. I mean, when I first started singing, when I was like becoming, you know, famous in the UK, we didn't have any social media or any internet. So if I wanted people to hear me, I had to do 7 or 8 shows a day, one side of the country to the other, and hope that they weren't too drunk or too eat off their face to remember the band's name and maybe the song even. And then you go back 3 months and, you know, and do the song again. Whereas now we're lucky enough to be able to do it from our bedroom almost. And we don't even have to, I mean, I've put out 3 albums, but now I'm like, I'm just going to release songs when I do them. I love them, think, nah, this is ready. A bit like what you're doing. Get it out there, you know, the days of CD buying and stuff like that, unless it's like a memorial, like a memory trinket from a show, people don't really buy CDs anymore. So I think what you're doing, you know, is just perfect. You're just releasing it when you feel, this is cooked. This is cooked. I'm releasing this.
I'm ready to move on to another idea. You know, that's kind of a thing for me because I love storytelling and I love film and things like that. So when I work on a project, it's like a project, you know, like it's like, oh, this is for this specifically. And when I feel like I've kind of like said what I needed to say about that, that's when I'm like, oh, I guess this is done. And then that's when I can like have fun with like photo shoots and like music videos and things like that. That's when like the fun kind of part of me that I don't get to tap in too often gets to come out, which I enjoy.
That's my favorite bit. I was talking to a friend yesterday. I said I enjoy doing performances more now than I've ever done because I have more confidence now because I've got to that age where I think I don't really give a shit. I like it. So I'm not trying to it's not that I'm not trying to impress, but it doesn't matter if you don't like me as much as before I wanted everyone to like me, and you know, that was it. Now I'm like, I'm doing this because I love it. And as long as you're feeling a little bit of that, that's really cool for me. But put me in front of a camera, mate. Because cameras for me, people can be mixy buggers sometimes. You know, we don't know what mood they're in, how they're feeling, what, you know, the person they're with, that, you know, there can be so many different factors into whether or not they are going to give a shit about your music. But a camera just picks up purity of what it sees. So I don't have to hide in a video or in a photo. It's just me. And that's the only time in that whole industry that I feel that I'm completely you know, even in the studio, you're like, oh my God, I really want this bit to sound a little bit more Mariah. If I could just get that twinge of Beyonce on that end flick on that note, that would just sound perfect, you know. But then on camera and on video, you are just you.
It's funny because like hearing you say that, I feel the exact same way, but most people don't feel that way. You know, like most people are like, please get the camera away. Like,
I met so many people that shit themselves when the camera comes out. Me, I ignore everyone there and I'm straight to the camera. That's
I'm same. Yep. It's one of those things, like, it's just never really like ever really bothered me. I don't know. It's just kind of, I've never thought of it as anything other than, oh, it's just like an image. It's just whatever. Like, I just don't even really think about it. It's not that complex to me, I guess.
No, so for me, it's a non-judgmental pair of eyes.
Yeah, it is. And it's also like, I don't know. For me, it's like, it's not me, if that makes sense. Like when I watch stuff back or like see a photo of myself, I don't think of it as, it's like almost like a removal for me.
Yeah. Like an out of body experience almost.
Yeah, it's just, you know, I had a friend the other day they were like, how do you spend so much time looking at your face, like editing videos and stuff? And I'm like, I don't even.
Oh, no,
it's not me. It's not me.
No, it's just art. I mean, I don't know if it's art is a big cliche, but it is. It's just, I don't see me. I don't even really hear me. I never used to listen to my songs that much after I finished recording because I was never really over keen on my voice. But what I'd started doing in most recent years since I found out how to operate Spotify was I started to kind of add my songs to playlists, not because I wanted to necessarily hear me, but I wanted to see how different my song would feel if it was coming off the back of Beyonce or coming off the back of The Weeknd or something, and it goes into Jaden Cornelious, and does it go, oh my God, that's like so different, jeez. And I was driving last night actually, and I was and my new song came on, and it seemed to work. Like I was only halfway through it when I thought, oh shit, that's me. Like it didn't jar, it didn't, you know, and that's kind of, you know, has been a real turning point for me as well, actually, that I just a song.
It happens sometimes. Sometimes I mean, I will go through phases where I hate a song and I'm like, this will never see the light of day. And then, you know, cut to 3 months and it's like a single or something, you know, it depends on the day, but I do that as well. I try to add stuff to playlists with artists that I think might fit or match and see how it plays and see if it doesn't stand out or what does stand out, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. So the future EP currently working on, what does the future hold for Swinney?
It's finished. It's actually officially finished. I just got the final mix back for the last song. So it's done. It just has to, you know, finalize the sequencing and stuff, and we'll be finished with it.
Fantastic. So what does the future hold now? What's going to be the future for Swinney?
I've sent it to some little indie record labels for distribution, and we'll see if, you know, any of them want to work with me. If not, I'm cool with that too. And I hope to release it by the end of the year, but if not, you know, top of the new year. So,
okay.
But yeah, and then I have a lot more songs that I'm working on. So we'll see. I'm not going to stop. I'm going to try to like just keep putting stuff out as often as I can.
Let it flow, right?
Yeah, I mean, I just have to find the motivation to edit and produce stuff. And that's where I'm at currently, where it's like I need to find some motivation.
So people at home, if you are an editor, producer, mixer, technician, and you can help this young man, then please do. And help
or
me.
just like send me some like Red Bull or something so I can just get a jolt and just get it done.
Yeah, well, that's probably a lot cheaper.
Yeah. Oh, so much cheaper. Yeah. I mean, when I first thought this project was finished, I like, got on all the different apps and sites for people looking to produce stuff. And I was like, oh, it could be cool to like take my like production demos and see what someone else could do with it. And yeah, it's a very pricey endeavor.
Really?
Very. Yeah. And mixing and mastering.
So Red Bull YouTube tutorials.
Yeah, that's the way to go. That's what you have to do.
Immediate. Well, you're doing amazing. However you're doing it, you're doing amazing. And I hope when that EP is due for release, you'll come back and we can have a chat and promote it.
Yeah, let's do it. Absolutely. I would love to.
Bloody wonderful. Where can people find you on social media and music download platforms?
You can find me on Spotify. That's where I'm most active. So you can just search by Swinney. It's SWINNEY. And then Bandcamp, SoundCloud. Just started a TikTok as well, which please check out, little fun stuff there. And then Instagram as well.
Perfect. People at home, as soon as this interview's finished, don't do anything. Don't go in the kitchen to make a cup of tea. Get straight onto Google and put Swinney in and find and follow the minute this interview has finished. Swinney, thank you so much for being part of this show. It's been bloody lovely to speak to you. And we'll catch up again soon.
Yes. Have a great afternoon. Thank you, Jaden. It's nice to meet you.
See you later.
Yeah.
Bye-bye. What a super lovely guy. Thank you, Swinney, so much for being part of my show. Thank you to you beautiful people at home for watching. And I am really hoping that the minute this show finishes, you'll be all over Swinney's social media and music download platforms, checking that boy out and showing some love and support. I'm going to play another song of his in a minute. This is actually a full song. This is called 3 a.m. I hope you've had a wonderful show. I'm super excited about sharing with you another lovely person next week on the Jaden Show. Have a good week. Be good. Stay beautiful. See you soon. Bye-bye.
It's 3 a.m. I can't stop thinking. My thoughts are loud, I hear them creeping. So much for sleeping. Sometimes I get too high, 'cause I can't seem to get you off my mind. And I am using everything I can find just to forget. I need to forget. I wanna forget. But it's 3 a.m. I get so lonely. It's 3 a.m. Won't you come and hold me? It's 3 a.m. It's 3 a.m. Looking at my phone, I want to call you. And I'm not sure why I even want to. Just can't stop thinking about you. Sometimes I get too high, 'cause I can't seem to get you off my mind. And I am using everything I can find just to forget. I need to forget. I wanna forget. It's 3 a.m. I get so lonely. It's 3 a.m. Won't you come and hold me? It's 3 a.m. I get so lonely. It's 3 a.m. Won't you come and hold me? It's 3 a.m. It's 3 a.m. It's 3 a.m. I can't stop thinking. My thoughts are loud, I hear them creeping. Just can't stop thinking about you. I need to forget.